Hare Krishna Mataji, welcome all the devotees to Lilamrita reading session. Now we are starting volume 7, chapter 1, Return to America 1965. So today's reading starts from the paragraph, one of the devotees who had been with Prabhupada. So Mataji, can anybody start invocation prayers before that? Okay Mataji, then I would like to go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathantam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishnan Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantancha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhobhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srimad Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Mataji, I would like to request any of the Matajis, can you start reading one of the devotees who had been with Prabhupada?
Mataji, can I read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
One of the devotees who had been with Prabhupada in India wrote that Swamiji should not be given sweets. Prabhupada did not take much of that either, as he had introduced coconut laddu on the first evening of his return. Upendra, he gave us the recipe that you grate the coconut and cook in the pot along with some sugar and champur and cook it until it comes to certain thickness, and then it can be squeezed into the balls and offer in that way. So he was giving these instructions to me, and I was following. The stove was an old-fashioned type that allowed for 1 hour. 1 hour to the stove to be covered with a safety cover while I cooked. Prabhupada leaned against the corner of the stove with his elbows, his chin resting in his hands, and he leaned and watched me stir. He got up and walked away and then came back. Just like restless young boy, he walked around the kitchen and then returned to look into the pot, staring it is to see if it was done. He asked, "Is it done?" "I think it's done. It must be done. Let us try." I took the substance out, and although it was still hot, we began to squeeze into balls. As soon as one ball was squeezed, Prabhupada took it and popped it into his mouth. He turned away from the stove and shaking his head pleasingly said, "Yes, it's done. Very nice." Prabhupada spontaneously showed his pleasure also. That was the risk of serving him closely as personal servant or cook. One day Govinda Dasa was cooking a cereal for Prabhupada's breakfast. When he walked past the kitchen, looked in and asked what you are cooking. I am making cereal, Swamiji. She replied, but today is Ekadashi, said Prabhupada. Mataji, can you move little bit?
Sure.
Oh, thank you, Swamiji. I don't know. She thought that by his remember he had not actually done anything wrong. After all, either he nor anyone else had eaten the grain. But Prabhupada began to criticize her with a severity and that surprised her. It was a great disqualification on her part. She had to cook grains on Ekadasi, the day when devotees fast from all grains. She kept repeating that she cooked grains on Ekadasi and described her mistake as very serious, very serious. Her one mistake seemed to indicate a whole wrong mentality. Govinda Dasi finally felt it was bad, as if she had actually eaten grains. So she fasted entirely for the rest of the day. Thank you, Mataji. I would like to stop here. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Punya Mataji.
Mataji, didn't we already read that?
Mataji?
Didn't we already read this part?
No, Mataji, no.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I have written it down, Mataji. We have last week read little bit of coconut laddu, but not complete, Mataji.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to continue from many things had to be done exactly right?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot pranams to all the assembled devotees and Guru Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Mataji, can I read?
Hare Krishna Alkangi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj. Please, Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Many things had to be done exactly right. When Upendra placed a small amount of salt on Prabhupada's plate in front of the rice, it made it difficult for Prabhupada to eat the rice without mixing it in the salt. Prabhupada mentioned it. When Upendra did it again the next day, Prabhupada said, I told you to put the salt in back of the rice, not in front. And foregoing his own pleasure, due to his servant's foolishness, Prabhupada added, now give me no more salt. The next day, however, Upendra put salt and pepper in separate containers and placed them beside the plate so Prabhupada could move them as he liked. Prabhupada accepted them silently. Whenever a mistake was rectified, he seemed to immediately forget the wrong. The Shastras enjoin, one can never know the mind of the Acharya. Since this is true, then how can we know Prabhupada? How can we share his inner life in those pleasant homecoming days of December 1967 and January 1968 in San Francisco? In one sense, we cannot. As Krishnadas Kaviraj says, I do not know the deep meaning of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. As far as possible, I try to explain them externally. But sometimes Prabhupada reveals himself directly in his own words. I have returned by Krishna's grace. I am fit to serve you. We can enter his thoughts through his spoken words. Through those who knew him and lived with him, we have another intimate approach to Prabhupada's life. How they saw him and how they dealt with him often. Often this is as close as we can get. Mukunda, It was in this period that Prabhupada went to visit Mr. B.K. Nehru, who was a big Indian government official. I drove Prabhupada to the St. Francis Hotel in a beat-up old Ford with the name Krishna stenciled in multicolors in 3 different places on the car. The St. Francis Hotel, of course, is a very elite hotel. We arrived at the front door and there was a doorman. I got out and asked him if he could leave the car in front of the hotel for about 15 minutes. Somehow, I don't know why, he immediately agreed to look after the car. We went up to one of the top floors of the building to a very beautiful suite. Mr. Nehru greeted us. He was wearing western clothes. I was also wearing western clothes and my head wasn't shaved. Mr. Nehru's wife was also there. I sat on the same couch as Prabhupada with Mr. Nehru in the middle and Prabhupada on the other end. In the beginning they spoke English. Prabhupada reiterated some of his past life history and mentioned that he had had a pharmacy called Prayag Pharmacy. He had met Mr. Nehru in India and Mr. Nehru acknowledged that he knew about the pharmacy. Prabhupada then explained how he had taken sannyas. I noted that Prabhupada was very warm and friendly. It was a side of him that I had never seen before. Not that he hadn't been warm and friendly, but to a non-devotee person, I had never seen him quite in such a friendly attitude. I was totally intrigued to see how open and almost intimate Prabhupada was becoming with this man. I noticed that Prabhupada was presenting himself as a mendicant, a sannyasi. And then the rest of the conversation took place in Hindi. It was a wonderful time for me to observe the facial expressions and gestures and the great depth of feeling with which Prabhupada communicated, because I had to try to guess what he was talking about. In fact, I was always speculating on what he might be saying. Then, of course, Mr. Nehru and sometimes his wife would interject remarks, all in Hindi. I was spinning enormous fantasies about what they all might be talking about. Prabhupada had introduced me as Michael Grant, secretary, and I was sitting on top of the world from the beginning of the conversation. I felt that I had a stake in the conversation that maybe Mr. Nehru is not aware that I am not understanding. I was very tuned into the mood of the conversation, even though I was not understanding it, but thinking that maybe I was understanding part of it and trying to act as if I might know something about what they were saying. At some point in the conversation, I was getting very involved in my fantasies of what it was about, and I heard the words missionary work come from Prabhupada. He stopped and looked at me momentarily. There was a beat, and then the conversation resumed. I then realized that I had really been tuned in by that. Prabhupada was asking something. Then later in the conversation, he said in English, "But one word from you," to Mr. Nehru. Then Srila Prabhupada's eyes opened wide and he paused, and I believe he looked around at me at that time. Then after a somewhat awkward silence, the conversation resumed again. Then I knew that Srila Prabhupada was really asking for a favor and that he was letting me in on this by saying it in English. I felt that all I could do was try to look very serious and important somehow, such that this man would think that by my presence and as an American disciple, he could see that Srila Prabhupada was doing great things by converting us Westerners to Krishna consciousness. Somehow I wanted to help, but I didn't know what it was, so I couldn't say. And I just tried to play the part that Srila Prabhupada seemed to want me to play in this transcendental game. Then the conversation became very convivial and the subject had changed. Hare Krishna Mataji, I'll stop here.
Kaltangi Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to continue from next paragraph onwards?
Mataji, and Danvat Pranama, glories to Srila Prabhupada. I can try, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Indu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji. Please go ahead.
Okay. Later, the wife of B.K. Nehru came forward and called Prabhupada Swamiji and said something in Hindi and gave him something wrapped in tin foil. It was about the size of a small apple. Then they exchanged words, and Srila Prabhupada was very warm and cordial with Mrs. Nehru. On the way out, I asked Prabhupada, first of all, what the conversation was all about. He was very vague, but said it was about some land that he had been trying to get in India. I think in Vrindavan. It might have been in litigation. I don't know, but he was asking Mr. Nehru's help. I asked whether he was going to help, and Srila Prabhupada was again rather vague about it. But he indicated that he felt the meeting was successful, or at least a step in the right direction. Then I asked about Mr. Nehru's wife, whether she was European or what. And Prabhupada said, no, she is a Parsi. Then on the ride back, Prabhupada opened the tin foil, and in it was a huge date, the biggest one I had ever seen in my life. And he took it out and took a big bite out of it, and then offered me the rest, which I took, of course. Mukunda was also present with Prabhupada in his room, along with a small group of devotees, when an earthquake took place. The telephone poles and wires began moving outside the window. The building trembled. No one said anything until Prabhupada said, "What is this?" A devotee replied, "It's an earthquake, Swamiji." Prabhupada said, "Oh." And then the earthquake suddenly stopped. Everyone present was very intent on Prabhupada's reaction. He said, "We can just sit down and chant Hare Krishna." He recounted the bombing of Calcutta during the war. Bomb shelter, and the bombs were falling. I was thinking as I was chanting Hare Krishna that if I had to die now, it would be wonderful to die while chanting Hare Krishna. Mukunda and the other devotees felt secure being in Prabhupada's presence. Even during the earthquake, they felt that no matter what catastrophe might happen, they could simply sit with him and chant Hare Krishna and be happy. When Prabhupada had first returned from India, he had criticized Mukunda for failing to obtain the permanent residency status for him. Mukunda had only been able to obtain a temporary visitor's visa. "Why did you do this?" Prabhupada had asked him sharply. Mukunda made a few excuses, and Prabhupada replied, "You do not understand." Later, Prabhupada and Mukunda visited a local immigration office to seek the permanent residency status. The official who met with them was a woman. In the course of the routine conversation, Prabhupada briefly mentioned the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. The woman remarked, "It must be very difficult to follow such a discipline in your life." Prabhupada replied, "No, it is not. It is just a question of remembering God." And then he gave her an example. Just as a woman goes to work and has to think of many different things, yet she never forgets to dress properly. So one has to think of God despite worldly duty. The woman immigration official could understand. During the conversation, the recent earthquake was mentioned, and the woman said that the building they were in was earthquake-proof. After the meeting, when Prabhupada was leaving, he said to Mukunda, "There is no such thing as earthquake-proof," and he laughed. Mataji, shall I stop here?
If you want, you can read the next paragraph to Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Leelavati. He called me into his room. He was sitting on his bed talking to Mukunda. When I arrived, he stopped speaking with him and turned to me and said, "How are you liking this Krishna consciousness?" And I said, "Oh, Swamiji, my life has changed completely." He bowed his head and said, "Thank you very much." He was very pleased. Then he continued his conversation with Mukunda. He was asking him, "So Mukunda, you have cast so many pairs of kartals from the ones I have brought, but I do not see any of the devotees with them." I chimed in and said, "Oh Swamiji, that is because he is charging money." That was my conception of spiritual life. No eating, no money, nothing. Everything neti, neti, neti. So Prabhupada said, "Oh, charging money is bad." I was surprised. He said, "You must understand that anything that is used in the service of Krishna is not bad. It is good. Money is bad if it is used. Money is not bad if it is used in the proper way." This was my first lesson in real renunciation, real spiritual life. He then asked me to edit the first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, correcting punctuations and grammar. I was so thrilled and enthusiastic. After leaving his room very shortly after we spoke, I immediately began work. I was extremely excited about doing it. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Indu Mataji. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to continue from next paragraph onwards?
Mataji, I'll try to read. It's kind of small from on my phone, so it's a little bit hard, but I will try to do this.
Oh, Mataji. Shall I increase the font? I will see.
Yeah, could you increase the font size, please? That would be helpful.
Yeah, I will try to, Mataji. One moment. So I think I need Indu Mataji's help.
Control plus, Mataji.
Control plus, okay.
I'll start, and you can, if it gets difficult, I'll stop. Leela.
Sorry, Mataji, if you're watching on your phone, you can expand it yourself too, Mataji.
No, it's not expanding. That's the problem. It's not expanding on my phone.
Oh, okay.
If I hold it vertical, it'll expand, but then the whole screen, the whole paragraph doesn't fit in the screen. If I hold it horizontal, okay, that's better. Leelavati's main occupation was taking care of her baby daughter Subhadra. She would treasure different incidents in which Prabhupada showed attention to her daughter. The first time he saw Subhadra on returning from India, he said, "She is very fortunate," and he quoted a verse in the Bhagavad Gita to the effect that the yogi who does not complete his practice has a chance to be born in a family of pious brahmanas. Another time, noticing that Subhadra was sleepy in his presence, Prabhupada remarked laughingly, "Yes, young children and old men must take a lot of rest." He also held the child several times and played with her. One time, when speaking to a room full of people, Prabhupada suddenly told Leelavati that her daughter was very warm and that she should take off her sweater. He had been speaking on a philosophical topic and had interrupted himself. Others in the room were taken aback to see that Prabhupada was concerned about such a small child. When Prabhupada was leaving in a car to go to a speaking engagement, Leelavati handed him a garland of narcissus flowers through the window of the car. He lowered his head in a humble way and said, "Thank you very much." She then handed him 3 narcissus flowers that had not been used in the garland. He took them and said, "Oh, and this is from your daughter?" Leelavati laughed and said, "Yes, Swamiji." And he said, "Oh, very nice." Such thoughtful and clever remarks from Prabhupada about her daughter totally encouraged Leelavati's Krishna consciousness. Krishna Das. He was continually working on the Bhagavatam and would make dictaphone tapes that he would send to Satswarup every other day in Boston. I remember one morning as I was going to work, Govinda Dasi gave me this little package that was a tape with Satswarup's address in Boston, and she asked me to mail it on my way to work. The address was on one side and the stamps were on the other. Every day when I went to work, Prabhupada left his door open, so whenever I would go to work, I would pay my obeisances, or sometimes I was walking by and he would see me and ask me to come in, and he would give me a little prasadam. He would say, "Oh, you're off to work now? Good, I am glad you are steady." Then in the evening I would go off the train, which would stop right at Willard Street. Prabhupada's room overlooked the streetcar stop. Sometimes I would get off the streetcar and Prabhupada would be looking down at me from his room. So I'd pay my obeisances right there in the street. And he would nod. I would come in and he would ask how the day was. So our relationship was very personal. I was never afraid of asking him if I had any difficulties. So when I was asked by Govinda Dasi to mail this tape, I stopped in Prabhupada's room and told him that I noticed that the stamps were on the one side and the address was on the other. Are you sure there won't be any difficulty in the mailing? I asked. He said, no, there won't be any difficulty. I've done it before. So I went out and I was getting ready when I noticed that the thing was stapled. I had been mailing jewelry all my life and I never sent anything with staples, always a string or something in case the staples fell off. So again, I knocked on the door and said, Swamiji, I've got to apologize. I don't mean to disturb you, but it's stapled. Are you sure it doesn't have to be tied? I was trying to be helpful, not critical. Maybe I was a little overconfident. So Swami said, no, it's all right. So I left. As I was putting on my jacket, I saw that about 2 inches of this envelope was unstapled and the tape was open to view. You could actually squeeze the thing, and although it couldn't fall out, it was visible. So I walked back to the room and paid my obeisances and said, Swamiji, you can see the tape inside. Prabhupada immediately hit his hand on the table loudly and yelled, the spiritual master is never at fault, and even if he is, it's your duty as his disciple to do whatever he asks. He went on for at least half an hour about how one should be very observant of what the spiritual master said and not criticize. It was like he was saying, I will be your spiritual master and I will instruct you, but what can I do if you won't take any advice? Krishnadasa also got a chance to shave Prabhupada's head. Not many of the devotees in those days wore the Vaishnava sikha, the tuft of hair at the back of the head. Prabhupada had very little hair, but he did have a sikha about 3 inches in diameter at the back of his head. Thinking that only the disciples wore the sikha, Krishnadasa shaved off Prabhupada's sikha. But Prabhupada only mentioned it mildly. Oh, you have cut off my sikha? On another occasion, while shaving Prabhupada's head, Krishnadas cut him, but Prabhupada didn't notice it. He was chanting the whole while. When Upendra came in and saw a bit of blood on Prabhupada's head, he exclaimed. Prabhupada said, What? And put his hand to his head. Oh, you've cut me, said Prabhupada. But that was all, and Upendra later told Krishnadas that he had committed a great offense. That evening, Krishnadas went to Prabhupada and mentioned the cut. There is no difficulty, said Prabhupada. You are just a little young yet. You don't have a steady hand. There is a saying in India that a mother teaches her daughter-in-law by teaching her daughter. In other words, a mother will most readily give corrective instruction to her daughter, but the instruction will apply equally to the less accessible daughter-in-law. Similarly, Prabhupada gave many instructions not only during his class lectures, but in daily dealings with his servants, such as Upendra. Any exchange with the Acharya are themselves teachings both by precept and example, and the whole world can benefit from hearing them. Thank you, Mataji. I'll stop here.
Parmeshwari Mataji. And thank you so much, Indu Mataji, for helping me out. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to continue from there?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Please go ahead. Okay, Mataji, then I would like to read. With Upendra, Prabhupada's instructions were often in response to Upendra's mistakes. Upendra followed Prabhupada everywhere. Once they were walking downstairs on the way to the temple, and Upendra, walking behind, called out to Prabhupada to get his attention. Prabhupada turned around on the stairs, raised his cane and said, I told you never to call from behind, on the way back from the temple. Upendra was supposed to carry Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam, eyeglasses and kartalas. One evening, Upendra got sidetracked talking with a guest, and when he returned to the house, Prabhupada was waiting for him. Govinda Dasi warned Upendra that Prabhupada was angry at having to walk back at the house alone. Uttering apologies, Upendra entered his room. Prabhupada said, whenever you are to do something, do it nicely. Do not be irresponsible. One day, Upendra was looking for Prabhupada within the apartment, and he went into Govinda Dasi's rooms to ask her where Prabhupada was. As Upendra left Govinda Dasi's room, he met Prabhupada coming down the hall. Later, Prabhupada called him and told, "You are a brahmachari. You should not be in the same room alone with Govinda Dasi or any girl. Do not do like that in the future." When Govinda Dasi had to go to the doctor, Upendra, although having no experience, whimsically volunteered to take dictation from Prabhupada as Prabhupada answered his letters. Prabhupada began to dictate quickly and Upendra immediately ran into trouble trying to write down his words. At the end of the letter, Prabhupada asked him to reread it, but Upendra couldn't read his own handwriting because it had been scribbled with such speed. Prabhupada looked at him incredulously, saying, "Why do you do things like that? You cannot read your own handwriting." Upendra attempted to read but could not, and Prabhupada had to fill in the whole letter again, while Upendra wrote in the words that he had missed or could not read. One of Upendra's regular duties was to crush up rock sugar candy, which Prabhupada took in water as medicine. One evening while Prabhupada watched Upendra put the crushed sugar candy in water and mixed it by pouring with water from one glass to another. Somehow a glass slipped from his hand, and in trying to catch it, he splashed it all over his head, face, and the front of his body. Prabhupada looked at him and simply said, "Go wash." Okay, Mataji, thank you so much for this opportunity to read Lilamrita. So, Mataji, anybody would like to continue from next paragraph onwards? Okay, Mataji. Then we would like to stop our for today's reading here. And I thank each and every Mataji who joined this chanting session, our reading session. And the Matajis, I would like to request all the Matajis, can you start sharing your realizations from today's reading, Matajis? I would like to request Praneshwari Mataji, Laltangi Mataji, Vinaya Mataji, Indu Mataji, Shama Gauri Mataji, and I think Preeti Mataji is busy. So Matajis, I would like to request everybody, can you start sharing your realizations for today's reading?
I joined late, Mataji, so I really don't have much except what we just read. So I just was thinking about when I read the part where Prabhupada, where Krishnadas shaved off Prabhupada's Sika, my mind simply went, "Oh my God!" I mean, that's such an offense to cut off the Sika, right? But he took it so mildly. I was just surprised. I thought he would get chastised, like, "How dare you? Don't you know you're not?" But Prabhupada was just so kind, and even when he got cut, he was just so, I mean, I was just thinking how I would feel, because, like I said, cutting off the Sika is such a serious offense, and of course, getting cut besides being offensive, it's also painful, right? So he was just so, what he went through. It was just seeing his mood of being so patient, and also patient with Subhadra, and understanding the child, and being so concerned about the child right in the middle of class. Mm-hmm. Being able to basically, Prabhupada's attentive to everything. He's giving a serious class, but then he realizes that the child is, feeling warm. She needs to take her sweater off. It shows his depth of awareness. That's the word, awareness of everything that's going on around him. And the Sika part, he was very, very mild and stuff, But then the mailing of the, when he came back so many times, to tell him, Prabhupada, it's coming out. It's like, and then finally Prabhupada was very like, hey, so, fix it, take care of it. So thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, yes. I was also thinking how he was much concerned about the mail, about little bit opening of the cover also he was concerned and he was bothering Prabhupada so many times. Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for coming on the call and reading Lilamrita in spite of your busy time, Mataji, work and everything. Thank you so much, Maneshwari Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can I share, Mataji?
Please, Mataji.
So, Mataji, is this the 7th volume that we are reading? This is
Correct.
Additional pastimes, right?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Yeah. So it's so, like as Satsarup Maharaj writes, that it is hard to find out what is there in the mind of an acharya until somebody close to him, how he is interacting with his disciples. That is that much close we can get, and we can get to hear from them. That's a very, very valuable point. And so these interactions show us the personality of Srila Prabhupada, how he was caring, and also his chastisement is because he cares. So that's the super most important thing, that we don't chastise someone who we don't care about or we are not responsible. But being brought up in the Western culture, they are not used to giving respect, or like how we are used to we observe in our families, our grandparents, when they come, we know how they are treated, how the elders are treated. But here it's not like that. The Prabhupada's personal servants and disciples, they are all grown up in this environment, and Prabhupada understands that very well. And that's the reason he has to teach them so many things about how to be respectful and how to give that position to the Guru, as consider him as the Lord. And also it's mentioned that how once it is corrected, he seemed to forget that. Like Upendra is putting salt and he says 2 times, and then when he keeps it in a separate container, then he didn't say anything about it. So all this is Srila Prabhupada's real mercy, that he tuned the movement so much that in the beginning he tuned those devotees who will be the example for further devotees to come, and then the generations to watch. He had such mercy, and he put everything in place so that it will be like a standard for the rest of so many years and so many generations to come. So that's my realization, that each and every one of these interactions of Srila Prabhupada with his disciples speak huge volumes of what we can learn. Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji, as highlighting. Yeah, when you're telling that nowadays children are not able to accept the chastising of parents or elders, not only parents, elders, whoever they come across, and if anybody chastise here in America, they are not right away able to digest it, and they are so sensitive, and from childhood they are developing a kind of self-respect.
Exactly, yeah.
Self-respect, and if anybody, I have seen that 2 years old girl also we should not chastise. There is no right for us. Chastise. We should say, if we say it in a hard tone, they rebel again. They rebel immediately, Mataji. I have seen that. Not the case. All of us are brought up like that, Mataji. Because chastising from parents or anybody should be taken as blessings, because as you said, because they are very much concerned about our growth, that is why they chastise. But nowadays that is not the case. And we have seen how Krishnadas and Upendra are chastised, but they are not taking it very seriously because they have so much faith in Prabhupada as Guru, and they are taking it very sincerely, whatever chastisement was given, and Prabhupada is also not chastising that much. He is correcting also.
Yeah.
That's whatever you told. Yeah.
Yeah, he's correcting and he's doing it because, and they also understand that, he's doing it because he loves us. And as you noticed, that culture is missing here, Mataji, very much. That's
Yes.
why, in those days we send the kids to the Gurukula because the mother cannot chastise. Mother can only, see the child and forgive and be loving. Yeah, pamper, right? Yeah, we fail to see the faults of the child, but the guru can see. So that environment is very very important for the growth, because otherwise how do we? That's why they are not able to handle stress. But see Krishna, how he says that mind is so unbridled. Only by practice we can handle it, and throughout the life, even a small thing happens. The kids, they can't take it. Yeah, something that unpleasant happens to them, they are not ready to take it, and then they go into stress and all those things. Yeah.
Yes, correct, Mataji. And that is why I think so much of gun violence is going now and then in the US. No other places I have seen. This is the country is so much of gun violence. They are not ready to accept anything against them. A little word. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, I also wanted to share something.
Please.
The other thought I was having is not only are the children, is it difficult for the children to, accept criticism or correction or something, as you were saying, it's very difficult. But I think also the mood of the parents. I mean, Srila Prabhupada, his whole desire in correction, there was no selfish motive for him. There was no selfish motive for why he was correcting. He was correcting purely in order to allow that spirit soul to realize his identity. But I think that as parents, and I am guilty of this myself, so that's what I'm saying, that we are so caught up in making sure that our kids are, are considered great, or they do all the right things, just because it makes us look good. And so we have a very, speaking of myself, I can see as as older person now that sometimes my chastisement was because it's going to look bad in front of others. You need to do this the right way. So it's more of a selfish thing. So I think what I've learned as I've raised my children, that trying to get myself out of the picture and realizing that whatever is good for the child is what I should do, not what's going to make me look good, if that makes sense.
Yes, Mataji, yes. Yeah, I agree, Mataji. Whatever you said, it is appropriate, and we have to be in one time in the shoes of children also, and we have to realize what actually they are also feeling. But I have seen outside, Mataji, everybody they don't want any kind of criticism. They want it let go. I've seen other children outside. But in India or whatever I was raised, I did not grown up like this. If anything is not done properly, immediately chastisement will come up from elderly people or from parents or anybody. But now the generation is not ready to accept any kind of this from the elders especially. After some kind of teenage, they are not able to digest all these things. That I have seen, Mataji. And what you said also, Mataji, we have to be sometime in shoes of children, and we have to think from their angle also. That is also true, Mataji. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Mataji, and Praneshwari Mataji.
Thank you.
Valuable points.
Thank you, Praneshwari Mataji. I agree to you completely.
Yeah, Indu Mataji, Vinaya Mataji, Shamagori Mataji, can you please give your thoughts also?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, very beautiful discussion. I just want to share a few points from the Lilamrita reading, Mataji. Yeah, in the beginning, what part I have read, Prabhupada was teaching, how to make laddus, coconut laddus, and also, that how he was so eagerly waiting to eat that laddu. But I don't know, can you all clarify, Mataji, there that laddu was not offered, right? Laddu was eaten by Prabhupada directly, right? I don't know if I was missed any point in reading or misunderstood. Please clarify me, Mataji. And the other point is that Mataji was feeling so sad about how she cooked food on grain food on Ekadasi. It's so we can see how much they are into devotion. We happen to cook Ekadasi grain food because we have kids, so we need to cook. So how sweet, cooking just Ekadasi food on grains on Ekadasi. She was so feeling so bad. I mean, and she was always, completely nervous whole day, and fasted for whole day. It was so touched to my heart, Mataji. And yeah, Mataji. And the other thing, that's so true. Nowadays here, especially in America, kids, we should handle them very sweetly, not tell anything, even though they do mistake. In India, it is not like that, completely different. And what way we brought up, I really love the way I brought up. Maybe I'm not liking when I was child, because more chastisement, more correcting was, I was thinking why my mom is doing this to me, but now I understood why did my mom did to me that, and if she would not do that, I was not being here. Yeah, so true, Mataji. These days, correcting kids or saying something to kids is like really very hard. Yeah, so nice discussion between all of you, Mataji. It was so nice reading and hearing your discussion. Thank you for the opportunity. Please clear me the doubt, Mataji, over there when we are reading.
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Prabhupada, by reading this, Mataji, I could not find that it was offered, Mataji, to Krishna, but yeah, Prabhupada kept in his mouth immediately, I believe so. Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, very nice, Mataji, very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Just wanted to know that line. Maybe I missed anywhere reading that line. Yeah, this was before, so Prabhupada is like himself a Supreme Personality, like, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But I remember when this reading was going on, before I come to Krishna consciousness, everything we cook, we offer. Like, we don't offer, right? That time, we try to taste like little and see how it is going. Or something which we cook favorite, we directly putting in the mouth, not even thinking for anything. Now that system is completely gone from my house. I mean, like, I never taste anything. Some new people come to my home for parties, like I cook, then they say, I immediately check when they come only, right? I used to ask what is the taste, and they will ask me, oh, you did not even taste it, then how can I taste it? I offered just now, then wow, it's so nice. Then we always keep on checking only. Half curry will be finished by checking the taste itself. Those days all gone in my life. I could remember all those days when I was reading that particular line. Just wanted to share, Mataji. Very nice. This system offering food and eating, made many changes in my kitchen especially. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vinya Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Mataji, Indu Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I just had a follow-up to Vinaya Mataji's question. So, okay. So when we are offering food, don't we offer to Srila Prabhupada first, and from there, Srila Prabhupada would then offer it to Krishna, right?
Yes, Mataji. From Guru only, it will be taken forward to Krishna.
Okay. So that's what even Upendra did, right? That's what it seemed like to me. Right? He prepared the dish and
yeah.
Directly Guru took it, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Wow, very nice, Mataji. So true, Mataji. Because Guru is himself treated as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, that's what even I was also thinking there when that line I have read. Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice. You got exact point.
No, Mataji, didn't think about it until Vinaya Mataji brought it up. So, Yeah, I love the way they prepared the coconut laddu. That was so sweet. Although it took so long for Srila Prabhupada, right? How he's so anxious to get it done, like a little child. And then and when he compliments, he compliments every single thing. So he says, "Oh, you did excellent. It was really tasty," right? That's what he was saying at the end. And when he's chastising, he would get straight to the point. He's very blunt about it. So he treated each and every one of them like his own children. And when it came to his grandchildren, like Subhadra, he was very loving, very caring. Oh yes, these are the flowers bought by Subhadra. So, he takes special note of that. And then, so that also helps the parents have more affection towards Krishna, have more affection towards Srila Prabhupada. And also so it shows that everything is very balanced. When he's chastising strongly, but he also compliments you heavily, so it balances out. So that is one thing that was discussed before by Phaneshwari Lakshmi Mataji and Lalitangi Mataji also. So that balance is good for us also to inculcate in our lives, especially with children. And so that was one thing. I was not really following the conversation with Nehru, what happened there. So I was not sure what happened in that place, but it was wonderful reading with all of you. Thank you so much for all of your realizations, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Indu Mataji, coming on the call, giving your association and reading Lilamrita. Yes, Mataji, in spite of your busy schedule in the office working also. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shamagauri Mataji, can you please tell something or share your realization, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
I was listening, but I don't know what to share. Maybe next time.
No problem, Mataji. No problem. But thank you so much, Mataji. After your vacation, you joined, and we are very glad to have your association, Mataji, in Lilamrita reading and chanting also, Mataji. I think you joined chanting Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, and please pray for me.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Mataji's, so today's sharing for my part, I will share, Mataji. I think everybody shared who are on call, I believe so. So, Mataji, today's reading start with, as Vinya Mataji says, it's like a preparation of coconut laddu. So last week we have seen how coconut laddu was prepared, and how Srila Prabhupada is giving instructions how to prepare laddu also, how to add good ingredients, and how the laddus will be very tasty also. So again, now in this today's session, opening paragraph is with Prabhupada's how the coconut laddu is cooked, how he is guiding, and we can see how it is cooked by Upendra, and how Prabhupada instructed him how should it be rolled, and what kind of texture, at what time it should be stopped, and everything we have seen, and how Prabhupada has taken it, and we have seen all those things. Again, from there down, we can see how it is a little bit complicated, not complicated, but how it is a little bit very strict serving Guru also. So we have to be very much careful while serving Guru. We have to be taken minute things into consideration and serve the Guru. And from there we can see how Govinda Dasi cooked a cereal on Ekadasi as breakfast to Prabhupada. From this cooking cereal, how Prabhupada reacted very severely towards Govinda Dasi. So he is severely criticizing her. You don't know this is a Ekadasi day and you are not supposed to cook grains on this day, and being with me from this long time and you did not remember this day as Ekadasi. So we can see how Prabhupada is very much strict on cooking cereals or grains on Ekadasi. And after this episode, how Govinda Dasi finally felt it was a very bad, as if she had actually eaten grains. So she had fasted entirely for the rest of the day. We have seen that. And so many things are very much, very minute things was also very much seriously taken by Guru. We can see by how Upendra is serving salt and pepper. So Prabhupada has asked Upendra to serve the salt at the back of the rice, but he has served in a reverse manner, and it was a point of angry to Prabhupada. And he chastised him not to do again, but he did twice. And third time he did properly by giving salt and pepper separate in separate containers and placed beside the plate of Prabhupada. And how Prabhupada accepted silently also. So then from there, and Shastras rejoin that no, one can never know the mind of Acharya, since this is true. So we can see nobody cannot read the Acharya's mind, and how he is very strict and vigilant in what we can say in shaping of the disciples' growth or day-to-day activities, and make him a very perfect guru for the next generation. How he is very vigilant in day-to-day activities of disciples, we can see him. And again from there, Mukunda is telling an episode between Prabhupada and Mr. B.K. Nehru, who is a big Indian government official. And Mr. B.K. Nehru stayed at San Francisco Hotel, and he is accompanied by his wife, and how there was a good conversation between Mr. B.K. Nehru and Prabhupada. So we have seen that Prabhupada had a pharmacy called Prayag Pharmacy in his early days, and how B.K. Nehru got to know this about Prayag Pharmacy, and all these they are discussing in Hindi. So Mukunda cannot understand what they are really discussing, and there was a kind of very deep discussion between Mr. B.K. Nehru and Prabhupada. They stayed in a San Francisco Elite Hotel, and after the discussion, so there is a Mrs. Nehru also, after the end of the discussion, Mrs. Nehru offered him some kind of I believe it is a kind of laddu, I believe so. It was wrapped in tin foil and given to Prabhupada, and as soon as it was given, Prabhupada had taken a big bite of it and enjoyed it. And by seeing the conversation between Prabhupada and Mr. B.K. Nehru, Mukunda can understand how friendly he is with B.K. Nehru. He was so much open, so intimate, and he is like a mendicant and a sannyasi, and how he is friendly. Mr. B.K. Nehru can also feel the same feelings. How Prabhupada is very much into deep Krishna consciousness, and at the same time how he can mingle very well with the material people also. By this warmth and affection from Prabhupada, B.K. Nehru can very much, what we can say, he can feel the warmth from Prabhupada, how he was very much affectionate to Mr. B.K. Nehru. So this whole discussion was going on in Hindi, and after some time, when they left, Mukunda asked him, so what was the discussion between both of you? So Prabhupada in a short way said it was like a land purchase in India. It is like to construct some temple like that. So from down there we can see it was a kind of little earthquake. from the earthquake, how the people around the Prabhupada are feeling and how the situation is elaborated and how it is highlighted, we can see. Normally in regular material world, it was a kind of earthquake, how we can see in news and everything, how the people are very much disturbed, agitated, coming out of the houses, asking for help, like that. But when they are in front of Prabhupada, near Prabhupada, how Prabhupada reacted, we can see. Just take japabis and chant Hare Krishna and be happy and don't worry about anything else, we can see. So all the devotees, all the people surrounding Prabhupada said they are very much protected being in Prabhupada's association, and they can feel that they are very much not agitated by this situation. We can see that also. In simple sentence, Prabhupada said, no need to worry, chant Hare Krishna. That's it. So from this earthquake, I got to remember some of the news which had taken in Gujarat. And Gujarat, when the earthquake is happening, one of the group of people from ISKCON also chanted Hare Krishna at that place, and dramatically the consequences of the earthquakes were not that much that they have to be faced, and it was very calm and quiet. But there is a kind of little disturbances, but not that much volume of destruction have been done. I have to remember this. I could not remember a year, but it was in Gujarat. And from this there is a kind of we can see again from down, then we can see yeah, I got to remember that when Prabhupada is talking to a woman in embassy, so she's telling that there is a earthquake proof buildings, and Prabhupada said there are no such kind of buildings actually. I was surprised, yes, Prabhupada is telling that. But nowadays in Japan, because Japan is prone to so much of earthquakes, so they are building some kind of earthquake proof rooms or buildings. I don't know how much it works, but some people who can afford that kind of apartments, they live in that kind of apartments. I have seen some friends telling that they live in those kind of apartments. But yeah, Prabhupada is telling if earthquake comes, there is nothing to be like that earthquake proof rooms or buildings. That is true, but I don't know how they are living that. And from there down we can see there is a good conversation between Leelavati and her daughter Subhadra also. How Prabhupada is taking care of her and everything in spite of his doing other chanting and everything, Bhagavatam and everything. And from there down we can see Krishna Das chastising. Krishna Das is being chastised. We can see the episode how he was getting the envelope to be posted, and it was stapled very tightly, but at the end it was little open, and Krishna Das was very much concerned about the opening, little side of the opening of envelope, and he was worried not to post it. So he was continuously keep on asking, can I post? Is it fine? Is that okay? So Prabhupada told him very clearly, it is fine, I have did several times previously also, I have posted it, so please go on post it. But Krishna Das is very much concerned about and how he was irritating Prabhupada, and we can see how Prabhupada strongly said, if Guru is telling to do something, you just do it. There is no kind of second thought on that. So how he is telling that. And another thing I observed in this episode of Krishna Das and Prabhupada, whenever Krishna Das sees Prabhupada while going to office and while coming back from the office, wherever he sees on the road also, he pays obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. So I was remembering one of the last classes of Kalasudha Mataji's class. So whenever we see Guru, at whatever position we are, whatever work we are doing, we have to immediately stop that work and we have to pay our obeisances to Guru. So here also we have seen that the same thing Krishnadas is doing. So while he was out from the street car, when Prabhupada saw him from the window and on the right spot on the road, he paid obeisances to Guru and he entered the room. So that was that point very much struck me. So as Kalasudha Mataji told, we have to pay our obeisances at whatever position, whatever work, wherever we are, whenever Guru enters in front of us, whenever we see Guru. That is a very striking point, and we have seen the same thing how Krishnadas is following in regard to Prabhupada as a spiritual master. And from there we can see once again how Krishnadas is shaving the head of Prabhupada and he is making little shika, and sometimes doing like this by mistake he just cut it down the shika of Prabhupada, and again he got made a little mark on the head of the Prabhupada while shaving his head. So Upendra had seen this and he told Prabhupada and Krishnadas this was the mistake done by Krishnadas on forehead of Prabhupada by seeing the little blood on the Prabhupada's head. But Prabhupada has said that Krishnadas is a young little boy and he had not a good steady hands. So how easily he accepted and how easily he ignored the mistakes of disciples. We can see from this scenario how Prabhupada is reacting. And down from there we can see again Upendra's mistake. How Upendra is doing mistakes. Upendra is following Prabhupada to temple or anywhere and he is at the back of Prabhupada and calling Prabhupada, but this kind of backward calling is not accepted by Prabhupada. And again while writing the letters, he is not able to cope up with or catch the speed of Prabhupada and write the letters, whatever he is dictating. And there also we can see how Prabhupada is little bit irritated with his not concentrating and doing work properly as is said by spiritual master, and from that is also one episode. And we can see how he is assisting Govinda Dasi, because he is a sannyasi Upendra and he should not be near or in alone association with a woman. So he is not supposed to be do like that, but he is there. So seeing all this, what we can say, irresponsible behavior of Upendra, not we cannot say irresponsible, but not having complete knowledge of how to do as a disciple and as a sannyasi, I think so. So he is doing this kind of little mistakes, minor mistakes, and how Prabhupada is correcting them in each and every situation and guiding him properly. Sometimes if there is a kind of chastisement he will do, or sometimes if there is a kind of little correction he will do. So we can see how Prabhupada as a spiritual master shaping the disciple into a good disciple. And again from there down we can see how Prabhupada and how Govinda Dasi, how she is had to go to doctor and how Upendra is assisting her. We can see all these things. And again the last episode is very funny for me. So Upendra is supposed to mix a candy sugar in glass of water and hand over to Prabhupada, but in a hurry or in a what has happened, but Upendra is making the candy sugar water and he poured everything on him, on his head, on his cloth and everywhere. So the glass slipped and everything went into vain, whatever he did. So seeing all this, Prabhupada simply said, go and wash. So we can see it is not very much easy to serve Guru. So Guru is constantly seeing, observing the disciple in each and every aspect. So he is correcting disciple. So from this episode, I want to share little of my personal also. So a few days back, Kalasuda Mataji asked me to bring something of food related things to her home at she told some exact time. I was doing my best and I did, but somehow I went late. I could not hand over the food items what Mataji is asking. So I felt very shame on my part that I could not be on exact time at what Mataji is asking. So I was late because of traffic and everything. But to my surprise, when I entered Mataji's home, she was so sweet, so calm, so quiet. But if I am in that Mataji's position, I will be so much worried. What will be going to be happen in the next moment, because it was so late. But it was quite opposite Mataji. She was very quiet, calm and so peaceful. She was not little bit worried about how late it was. So by seeing all these episodes, I could immediately see how Guru will be at each and every situation, how they won't be reacted like a common man or a material man. So just I want to share this, Mataji. So thank you so much, Mataji, for giving me this opportunity to share my realizations. So if anything is wrong in my realizations, please excuse me. Thank you so much, Mataji, to every Mataji who joined this session and given their association. If there are any more, can you please share, Mataji? I would like to listen more of the realizations. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Supriya Mataji. As usual, your summary is so sweet and so nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. Your realizations always helps me, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing your personal realization.
Thank you.
Sweet, Mataji. So sweet. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone for the beautiful realization discussion, and thank you, Mataji, for the very lovely summary. I just wanted to add a few things. One is about Prabhupada's he stapled the letter, and the disciple wasn't sure if it's okay. And Prabhupada said, don't question the spiritual master, whatever he does is perfect. So actually there was a similar incident. I don't know whether it is there in this chapter or maybe somewhere else, but I've heard it in Prabhupada memories, that it so happened that Prabhupada similarly, he had done this in the past as well. He had an envelope which he wanted to send, and he put a punch hole in it, and he sent it to the disciple and asked them to post it. So the disciple was very curious as to why Prabhupada would do that, because it's supposed to be something personal or something private. Why would he punch a hole in the envelope? And then he said, no, Prabhupada, we have to do this, we have to use a different envelope, this, that. But then Prabhupada said, no, just follow my instructions and post it. And then later he explained to the disciple that actually in India, when such letters are sent, what happens is there are people who kind of steal the letters to see if there is some money inside. When you just put a piece of paper and you send, right? So sometimes they do open it up for money. So some people in those days, they used to send money like that and lose money, and Prabhupada used to Prabhupada says that when you punch a hole or you just staple it outside, they can just peep into it, and they can see that it's just a piece of paper, and they won't disturb the envelope. So that is something that I was reminded of. I don't know when I heard it, but long time back, I think in Prabhupada memories, this incident comes. I don't know if it is connected to the same incident or it was a separate incident. That is one thing. And also, I was just thinking that the example that he was giving the customs lady about just like how a woman, when she's going to work, she also dresses up neatly. She's conscious about it. Similarly, a person who's in Krishna consciousness, to think about Krishna all the time should not be a difficulty. That's how they think about Krishna all the time. So I thought these two are very, very beautiful instances. Just wanted to share that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. I was thinking I missed some point. Yes, Mataji, you covered that too, Mataji. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, there's a conversation between Prabhupada and immigration women. Yes, Mataji, true. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much. And Mataji, I have one question because here everybody are present on the call. So while accepting the instruction from Guru, so if we accept it, so sometimes it is like not to irritate Guru or not to say, but is it fine to ask Guru or question Guru why we have to do this, or we have to simply follow that? Because sometimes we feel like we are doing dumb. Is it true? Is my attitude is true, or we have to follow? We should not question. How should be our mood, Mataji, while following Guru's instructions? But we should not irritating him, like asking so many same kind of questions again and again. But is it proper to question Guru?
I think there are many devotees on the call.
Mataji, I was thinking we can ask question, no problem in asking question, but how we are asking, the mood is important. The submissively we have to ask, and we should not ask like, okay, you are wrong, or like that. It's not should be our mood. We don't know anything, we are surrendering yourself, please teach us, like that. Even though we are asking again and again, no problem, because Guru is a person who can, always tell again and again for us to correct. That's not a problem, I guess, Mataji. Only the mood I was feeling, but if there is anything wrong in my understanding, or please add, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Laltangi Mataji, Priti Mataji, Praneshwari Mataji, Shamagauri Mataji, Indu Mataji, can you please share your thoughts also, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Indu Mataji.
Mataji, I just wanted to check on my understanding on one thing. Okay. So here, Upendra tries to do the dictation, right? Like he tries to notes while Prabhupada is dictating, and it doesn't work out. It's a big failure. Same with the rock candy juice. I mean, he did not listen to what Srila Prabhupada told him, but he felt like it was his immediate responsibility to give the drink to Srila Prabhupada. So, in that way, I was just wondering if, even personally, is it something that I should consider or remember, okay, am I actually capable of doing this before I accept any service or any task? So it's a question, is that, do we always have to think about it or just dive in?
Yeah, Mataji, yeah. Yes, Mataji, got it, yeah. Thank you, Indu Mataji. Thank you.
It was a question, Mataji.
I got it, Mataji. Hindu Mataji, for this is why we have gurus, and this is why we have Siksha gurus, right? Whatever we have problem, then we can put the same thing to Siksha guru, Shiv or guru. If we have a direct connection, then they will decide whether we can do it or not. If guru is saying, that means we have the capacity to do it, then we can do it. That's what my understanding, Mataji. Please, again, this is just my adding. If my thinking is wrong, please, anybody can anytime add, Mataji, and please correct me. I'm learning, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. With this instruction, he gives you the empowerment to do it as well. Even if we do it wrong, it's okay. If it's the Guru's instruction to do something, you just do it. That's all. And you learn from it if you're doing something wrong, and you will never repeat it again. But generally it is said, even if it's a task that you don't know about, the Guru, with the instruction comes the empowerment to do it. And even if you go wrong by any chance, it's still okay. Because you're going to learn something much more valuable than you ever thought about. So in hindsight, when you see things, it is all worth it.
Yeah.
Thank you, both Mataji. So just dive into whatever they instruct. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. It's so nice word. The empowerment comes from Guru. Yes, Mataji. If we have Guru's blessings, all that energy that Guru gives us, and so that we can do more and more. Wow, Mataji. Very nice point. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much, Preeti Mataji and Vinaya Mataji, for clearing my doubt and making it very clear cut how to follow instructions of Guru and how to accept it, whatever he instructs. That it is a kind of empowerment we will get from Guru to execute the order given by Guru. Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji.
Mataji, what was your question before that?
My question was, is it proper to question Guru? Because sometimes we feel like dumb. If we carry on the instructions given by Guru without questioning, is it wise to question Guru while executing the order given by him?
Yeah, I think Vinaya Mataji gave a very beautiful answer here.
Yeah.
It's just
because sometimes I feel sometimes Guru will also be testing us, right? So, so is it proper to do whatever instructions without questioning him to do, or sometimes he will test the disciples to see their caliber, to see their strength also. So in that way, I felt like that, Mataji. But yeah, thank you so much, Mataji, for Indu Mataji's question and everything also, Mataji. Vinaya Mataji's clarification, yours clarification. Thank you so much, Mataji. So, Mataji, I would like to thank every Mataji who attended this session. Preeti Mataji, Vinaya Mataji, Indu Mataji, Laltanji Mataji, Praneshwari Mataji, thank you so much, Mataji. I would like to pay my obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya, Krupa Sindho Bhyaye Vacha Patita.